Not all dinosaurs are equal to others. It's time to remove a few for some better options. Hello and welcome back to Tricolor Gaming with me, Fletcher. And in this video, I'm going to be naming the creatures in Jurassic World Evolution 2 that I would remove from the game, and in addition, naming what I would replace these animals with and why. Now, having looked at some of the huge creature lists in the game, coming up with a list of animals I'd remove was not easy. I have finally decided on 5 ground animals, 1 aquatic animal, and 1 aviary species animal. I've also decided on a few rules for replacing the species. The animal must have a like-for-like diet, so no replacing a herbivore with a carnivore, and the animal must be relatively similar in terms of size or family group, so no replacing a small animal for a huge one. Let's start with the ground animals. Number 1, Myosaura. I'm sorry, but I really hate this animal. In terms of its real-world importance, the Myosaura is one of the most important dinosaur species, given it was the first animal to confirm the idea of dinosaurs being good parents and laying eggs. But in the game, the animal doesn't really have much going for it. And not only is it pretty ugly, but its skins are dull and boring, and while the animal's rating is fairly decent at 72, it's not enough to make this animal a better choice than, say, an iguanodon. So what would I replace it with? I would pick the hadrosaur Saurolophus. There's a few reasons for this. Firstly, there are 2 species, a large Mongolian species and a smaller Canadian species. This provides the option for model variation, like we have with the Giganotosaurus. It also has a strange head crest as a defining feature, which would make it stand out a little more in the parts. Give it similar skins to the iguanodon or Parasaurolophus, and this animal would make for a far better looking, more interesting animal than Myosaura. Number 2, Archaeonithomimus. So this one is here because it's totally overshadowed by the other ornithomimids. The Struthiomimus has better skins with better patterns, while the Gallimimus has more appeal due to its presence in the movies. While the Archaeo has the higher rating at 39 points, again, I think it gets overshadowed by the other 2 animals. Its replacement for me would be Ornithomimus itself, for a very important reason. In the last 20 years, there's been a number of new fossil discoveries that have preserved feathers with this dinosaur, indicating the possibilities of feathers on the forearms, the tails, and the legs. I would bring this animal into the game with feathers, with its patterns and design using some modern day birds for inspiration, such as the barn owl, bald eagle, or the secretary bird. This would make it a realistic depiction of these animals with more modern science. Number 3, Dynanicus. I feel very bad for Dynanicus. This member of the raptor family, which was used primarily as the inspiration for the raptors we know and love for the movies, has been completely overshadowed by all the other raptor species in the park. Pyroraptor and Velociraptor are far more popular than it, and to rub salt in the wound even more, it has the lowest score of all of the raptors in the game. Frontier's redesign that gave it the basilisk frills on the tail and the head is also a controversial addition as far as the community is concerned from what I've seen. Now, for replacing this guy, I could pick a new raptor species or a new small carnivore that is of a similar size. For this, I would pick a non-dromaeosaur species and use Eotyrannus. There's a few reasons for this. While there are plenty of similar sized raptors to Dynanicus, such as Dromaeosaurus, the only thing that could be done to make it unique from the others in the game would be to add feathers, and I still think Pyroraptor would be more popular. Eotyrannus, meanwhile, represents an animal from a dig site already in the game, that being the Isle of Wight in the UK, and is an animal that they could do a lot with in terms of its design, as the skeleton of the animal we do have is not 100% complete, including the top of the skull, the back, and the tail. So there is the possibility the Frontier could take some artistic license, giving it some sort of crest or even feathers. Let's leave the last 2 ground animals for the moment. And if you're liking this video so far, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe for more content from all of us at Tricolor Gaming. Right, let's tackle the pterosaur and the aquatic that I would remove. Aquatic, Tylosaurus. This one was fairly easy for me. The Tylosaurus is pretty unloved. It has the issue of looking fairly ugly, while also not having too many good skins. Another issue with it is that there are just better species of a similar size, especially now that we have the dunk, and the Tylosaurus still has some very busted animations, with its turn looking especially messed up. Now, one of the issues with replacing the Tylosaurus is that most of the animals that are of similar size are too similar to those we have already, or too radically different. However, I did find something that would be nice to see. Plesiosuchus is a member of the Metriorhynchonoid family, a type of animal that is considered an aquatic adapted crocodilian. These animals look very similar to mosasaurs, but have a more crocodilian shape to their heads and bodies, and have far more prominent flippers for limbs. These animals were around during the mid-Jurassic and early Cretaceous period. Plesiosuchus is one of the biggest, with estimates suggesting a length of over 6 meters. The reason why I think this would make a good addition is that it would represent a new family of aquatic animals that are not currently in game. It looks sort of like a mosasaur, and given that we don't have a huge amount of the fossil, again Frontier could do some cool things with its design. Pterosauridactylus. This is for me one of the least used pterosaurs in my game. It just doesn't have enough to make it unique. There are better pterosaurs with crests or colorations. In terms of its replacement, I'd go for the Nyctosaurus. This pterosaur is well known for its very unique crest, which takes the form of 2 long fingers raising above the animal vertically and towards the rear. This sort of crest shape is very unique amongst the pterosaurs, and its size is relatively similar to Pterodactylus, so it makes for a much more interesting animal overall. Right, back to the last 2 dinosaurs. One of these is very controversial, I think. We'll save that one till last. Dinosaur number 4, Styracosaurus. While I personally love this super spiky ceratopsid, the Styracosaurus is just not an animal I like in Jurassic World Evolution 2. Its skins are awful, and it has a very low rating for such a visually distinctive animal. Instead of Styracosaurus, I would instead have the ceratopsid Diabloceratops. It is a similar size to the Styracosaurus and has a visually distinctive look with prominent spikes on the frill, but also has a uniquely narrow head when compared with other ceratopsians. I also think that it has a cooler sounding name. So on to the last species, and this one is the most controversial. Number 5, Baryonyx. Okay, so hear me out. One of my issues with the Baryonyx is that the Frontier design is just ugly. It's too crocodilian. It's also fairly uninteresting due to its bad skins. So here is what I would do. I would remove this animal and instead add it as a creature to the Malta DLC. This would give the Malta DLC a little more teeth in terms of the creatures that we'd received from it. It would also have given Frontier time to redesign the animal. Instead of the Baryonyx, I would instead have the Ichthyovenator. This animal is about the same size as the Bary, but is more visually distinctive thanks to its strange double sail on its back. It would also be the first representative of dig sites located in the Indochina area, with this animal coming from Laos. The Baryonyx would then come in with the Malta DLC, making it more worthwhile buying and providing us 4 distinct Spinosaurids with completely various body styles. So that was 7 animals that I would remove and replace. What animals do you think are worthy of being swapped out for better ones? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget while you're there to give us a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.